Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. We have Nancy Barbour, the Director of Educator Support Services with NCDPI, on the webinar with us, and she's going to give us a brief introduction. If you'd like to go ahead, Nancy.
Thanks, Andrew. It really is a pleasure to be with everybody today, and really want to appreciate No Kid Hungry and the partnership that we have been developing over the year, and looking at their support of our many programs. But in particular, really hoping that today we can make some connections between school improvement and the importance of breakfast, lunch, nutrition for our children. It really does align beautifully with our Whole Child initiative that the state board has endorsed, and also is one of those things that when you think about school improvement might not come to the forefront because we're thinking of academics or standards, but when you really take a step back and think about children being ready to learn and having their basic needs met, we just really fell into, wow, why don't we think about a resource for keeping our kids full and nutritionally satisfied? Because then we have children who are ready to learn. So we're very appreciative at the department, particularly in Educator Support Services, that we can work with our child nutrition and Dr. Harvey and her staff, as well as No Kid Hungry, to help our schools recognize that this is something they can include in their school improvement planning that might also be a resource and partnering with their child nutrition staff. So just want to say thank you. And hopefully we will have this opportunity to share some resources for our schools that we can also extend to schools that we may be serving in the future. So we look forward to the information we'll get today.
Thank you, Dr. Barbour. Good afternoon. My name is Helen Roberts, and I'm the School Outreach Educator for No Kid Hungry, North Carolina.
My name's Andrew Harrell. I'm the Communications Manager for No Kid Hungry, North Carolina.
We're honored to be speaking with you today as a part of the collaboration between No Kid Hungry, North Carolina and the Educator Support Services Division of DPI. No Kid Hungry, North Carolina began in 2011 in the Office of the Governor. In 2014, we became a part of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. We work to end child hunger by promoting underutilized federal nutrition programs, such as school breakfast, summer meals, and after-school meals. Today, we're here to talk with you about how increasing participation in school breakfast can benefit our schools and our students, and how doing so is a perfect fit for school improvement plans. Specifically, we promote innovative methods of serving school breakfast to feed more kids. We're going to start the webinar today with a video of principals from across North Carolina sharing their experiences with these innovative breakfast delivery models.
I grew up single mother, 7 kids in the housing projects in Virginia. Not a lot of food to go around. My only chance really to have a good meal was through school. So I ensured that I went to school every day. When I see students that they be in the same situation, I'm in a position to do something about it. So starting Second Chance Breakfast and fighting all the things we went through to make it successful, to me is worth it. The process has changed the school. The scores are going up, the discipline is going down.
Jackson Middle School now has a 98% participation rate in breakfast. 98%. That's for my school. I only had 12 kids not eating breakfast, and those most time were absent. So here we now have students coming directly to class where their meals wait on them. With our books and breakfast program, our teachers are there greeting them at the doors. It causes such a calmer environment. Students go directly to their homeroom. There isn't any additional transitions, and we increase our instructional time by 30 minutes each day. 30 minutes each day.
The only way I knew about breakfast in the classroom was through a colleague, another principal. She shared with me that they were doing it at her school and what it had done for her school. So I gave it a try. It has worked really well because it's eliminated a lot of stuff. Discipline in the morning, kids losing instructional time. For the teachers, knowing that by 7:30 they'll know if their kids are here. And they can start instruction on time and not be missing half their kids. That part has been very beneficial to the teacher.
You know, I talked a lot about academic data. How often do we look at nutritional data? I inherited a school at 42.5%. And within 1 year, just focusing on improving the culture of the school, we went to 58.8. So then we started focusing on our school breakfast. And that 58.8 went in 1 year to 71.4. So we went from a low performing school to a B school in just 2 years. And we attribute a lot of that to the breakfast in the classroom.
I would tell principals that actually our participation has increased. I feel like there is a direct impact on our student achievement. It has increased as well. Because of supervision being an issue in our middle school, it definitely has cut down on discipline. It makes it a lot easier to manage in the morning.
It used to be a line out the cafeteria, but sometimes kids are like, I don't want to wait in line. I've already eaten breakfast, and they just go past the line and go to class. Whereas here, you walk in the room and it's waiting. That's easy. All I would say is do what's best for kids. You got in this to do what's best for kids. And what's best for kids is making sure that they're well fed.
We have simply one motto: feed the children. You must feed the children. Children who are hungry will not learn. They're not focused. They have harder time resolving social issues. Feed the children, regardless of where they come from, how they get here, when they get here. We must feed the children.
For teachers and for principals, if you just embrace the idea of, doing something different with breakfast, I think it would benefit kids, and who can argue with that?
So why are we concerned with improving participation in school nutrition programs? First of all, there's a need. Out of the roughly 1.5 million public school students in North Carolina, almost 60%, or 900,000, are eligible for free or reduced price school meals. Our schools are working to meet this need by serving breakfast. Breakfast is served at 98% of MC's traditional public schools, but the breakfast is not always making it to the students, and not all children who need school breakfast are eating it. This brings us to what we refer to as the breakfast gap. There's a huge gap between the number of FRP eligible students who eat school lunch and the FRP eligible students who eat school breakfast. Out of the FRP eligible students who eat school lunch, only 58% of them also eat school breakfast. Statewide, that leaves a gap of almost 264,000 students. Some of these kids might already be eating breakfast at home, but as a whole, these are kids who depend on school meals for their nutrition, and they aren't getting it for breakfast. Among the 23 schools invited to this webinar, there's an average of 141 students in the breakfast gap at each school. So what's standing in their way of eating breakfast?
School breakfast has its own unique barriers that make it inaccessible for students. Unfortunately, those students who might benefit the most from school breakfast can be among those least likely to access it. The barriers fall into three categories: time, place, and stigma. Because of these barriers, when breakfast served in the cafeteria is the only option available to students, breakfast participation is often very low. There are a number of reasons why more students don't participate in school breakfast. Some are logistical and some are social, but most are based on the traditional model of school breakfast as eaten in the cafeteria before school. To overcome the barriers of traditional school breakfast service, innovative solutions are needed. Programs such as community eligibility provision and universal free meals are important, but they alone do not have a large enough impact on breakfast participation. On their own, they do not eliminate the barriers of time, place, and stigma. More than once, we've seen schools get a bounce in participation from these programs, only to find it unsustainable while still serving breakfast in the cafeteria. Just because breakfast is free and available does not mean students are eating it. Free of charge doesn't mean free of stigma or free of hassle. Making breakfast part of the school day with innovative, modern methods of serving it is the answer to increased, sustainable breakfast participation. These innovative models include breakfast in the classroom, where students eat at their desk as the teacher takes attendance or continues to teach. Grab and go, where students pick up breakfast from kiosks or carts in the hallway and take it to designated eating areas. And second chance, where breakfast is made available to all students later in the morning, usually after first period. These models will lead to 70 to 90% participation in breakfast school-wide, with breakfast in the classroom being the most successful.
So these innovative methods of serving breakfast break down the barriers and are proven to increase breakfast participation, offering all students an opportunity to eat a healthy breakfast. We have not yet heard of a single concern about breakfast in the classroom or other innovative models that cannot be overcome quickly in the pursuit of feeding more kids. Breakfast is a necessary part of the school day for any student. The benefits are obvious. Ask yourself why teachers and staff go out of the way to make sure students eat a good breakfast before end of the year testing. We should do everything we can to make sure we take advantage of school breakfast benefits year round. Those benefits include better attendance and less tardiness, increased ability to focus, fewer behavior problems, improved academic performance. And on average, students who eat school breakfast achieve 17.5% higher test scores on standardized math tests and attend 1.5 more days of school per year. I want to look at those last two stats again because I know that these are often the ones that really connect with principals. Studies show that students who eat school breakfast achieve 17.5 higher scores on standardized math tests and attend 1.5 more days of school per year. These stats come from a national analysis of school breakfast by Deloitte, and the data here in NC supports it. Winning principals of this year's NC School Breakfast Challenge have shared that they are seeing higher scores and better attendance, thanks in part to their increases in the number of students eating school breakfast.
So why is this information being shared with you now in this context? We see school breakfast as a key to student and school success. Breakfast is in many ways an underutilized resource in a school, not being used to its potential. So it's a perfect fit for principals to include in school improvement plans. Serving more students breakfast is an easy win. It's already in your school. It's a seamless fit with the whole community, whole child, whole school model. Lots of data is available to track your progress, and it has a positive effect on other indicators. Within the innovative school breakfast approach, there are lots of ways to tailor things to your situation. Breakfast in the classroom is the most popular model, but second chance breakfast is a great fit for high schools and other situations where an early start to the day is a barrier for feeding kids. When it comes to school breakfast service, one size does not fit all. Come up with what works best with your own building layout, staff, and schedule. Now we're going to take a look at the story of one turnaround school's success in incorporating nutrition programs into its plan with this next short video.
As a turnaround principal, you have to be cognizant that you can't turn a school around academically until you turn it around emotionally, socially, and physically. Kids need to know that they're safe, they're loved, and they're going to be supported. And that means being fed. I mean, period. I can't see academic increase if my babies are hungry. It's just not going to work. And so to be able to provide them with 3 solid meals a day It's extra work for the school. It's extra work for the cafeteria. It's extra work for my custodians. It's even extra work for the teachers. That's okay. They get paid to do work. But these kids need to eat. So we put all of that to the side and we say, what's the best thing for children? And that's to feed them.
As far as the school turnaround programs, I do think that the meal should be considered, especially when you know that your school is located in a food insecure area. And then working together as partners, whether we're administrators inside the school or we're school nutrition, we should be able to come together and make that happen. I am extremely proud that we're able to meet the needs of the kids feeding 3 meals a day. Because when you look at, or if you know anything about the hunger or the food insecurities in Gifford County itself, we know that the need is there. And it has not been a hard transition. And we know learning that, yes, it has been a benefit for our children.
We'll see the impact in terms of what those schools look like down the line, good, bad, or indifferent, But I think just from a culture standpoint, or from a perspective about, are we addressing all the needs of our kids? I think we've gone a long way to show it's not just lip service. We care and love our kids and hug them. We're doing something about it. We've made a commitment. We've made a programmatic and financial commitment and a systematic commitment to say, we just don't say we care about our kids all the time. We're doing something about it. So I think that, if anything, we're demonstrating to this community here that, hey, we've got your back, parents, moms and dads and guardians. We're reaching out in a way that other schools aren't right now. So I think that would show parents, hey, that school is really, really has made the commitment, has really stepped up. So I think that paradigm shift it's palatable. You know it when you walk into school. You hear it from the administration and you see it from what we're doing.
As a turnaround school, we're going into year 4. And each year it's like we do something different. We add a different component. And so in year 3, we added the super snack. This is our first year doing all 3 meals, because it used to be that our parents wanted to pick kids up at 2:15, even though we get out at 3:05. So now that we do super snack at 2:45, we see kids not getting picked up as early unless they have a doctor's appointment or something to that nature. They do leave them in school for the duration of the day because they do know that they're getting another solid meal. So the trajectory for me says that we will begin to see an increase in academic achievement, but the research says change in these kinds of schools and populations take anywhere from 3 to 5, possibly 7 years. And it has to be ongoing, consistent change. We never get to the place that we say, oh, this is great, so we don't have to touch it. We're always looking at how to tweak and improve and modify things so that the conditions are better for the children.
I would speak with anyone, principal, teacher, anyone, politicians. Ask them to stop and think, or have them to understand that hunger is real. And it is exceptional to me when it comes to a child. They cannot fend for themselves. And if we can help them, why not? The USDA is there to help us. The federal program is there. We can access labor within our school systems to get this done. Why not put this in to help these children? Why not?
So hopefully now you're asking yourself, how can I have the same success as Hampton Elementary? You want to start by taking a look at your data to see where the need is. Before this webinar, you should have received a toolkit that includes breakfast participation data for your school. And we're happy to reshare that with you all later on if you need it. Next, let's walk through an example of this data to highlight its most important points. This data, first off, comes directly from the NC Department of Public Instruction. Today, we'll be looking at data from October 2017, because October and March usually represent the most complete interruption-free picture of school meal service. Remember that it is always available to you, both through us at No Kid Hungry and through your nutrition staff working for your school or your school district. So first at the top, you'll notice the total number of students in your school. The next number is the breakfast gap. This is the number of students who are eligible for free or reduced price, or FRP, meals and eat school lunch, but not school breakfast. Some of them might be getting breakfast elsewhere before school, but their FRP eligible status and their participation in school lunch tell us that they depend on school for at least part of their daily nutrition. They likely need or could benefit from school breakfast as well, but the barriers we mentioned earlier, time, place, and stigma, are getting in the way. So this number represents the students in your school who will most benefit from a change to innovative school breakfast service. Next is the percentage of students in your school who qualify for free or reduced price meals. For many of you, that number is related to the next line, CEP. Most of you have schools that use the community eligibility provision, or CEP. This is a policy option for high-need schools that allows all students to receive federally reimbursed free meals. The community eligibility provision and a similar policy known as universal free are options we encourage all schools to consider in order to provide students with free meals. But simply making school breakfast free is not enough to make sure it is getting to the students who need it. These policy options don't do enough to overcome the barriers we've gone over today. So in order to be sustainable in terms of participation and finances, they need to be paired with innovative breakfast service. The final two numbers you'll see are the percentage of FRP eligible students eating school lunch and school breakfast. The difference in these two percentages is reflected in the above breakfast gap number.
We hope that you'll introduce this information at the next meeting of your school improvement planning team. Remember, breakfast is an underutilized resource right there in your school. Some small changes in how breakfast is served can lead to big, measurable benefits. Talk to your school nutrition director and your school cafeteria manager. Discuss which service model or combination of models best fits your school. Take a look at nearby schools if you want to see how it works. We can help you find a school near you with an innovative school breakfast program that would be happy to have you visit and see its success. Now, thank you for your time today and for all you do for the students of North Carolina. To learn more about innovative school breakfast and other nutrition programs that No Kid Hungry is involved in, please visit us online at nokidhungrync.org. You'll find a wealth of resources there, including the videos that we've shown today. If you have a meeting with your school improvement team and would like a No Kid Hungry team member to be there as support, please reach out to me or to Andrew. You'll see our contact information there on the screen.
As a final note, you'll see the URL for nokidhungrync.org/principal toolkit. That has individual digital copies of a lot of the documents we've shared with you in the emailed toolkit, as well as links to the videos we showed today and others. And if you're interested in another copy of the data we sent as part of the toolkit, or seeing that data in another form, or seeing other data points you're interested in, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. And thank you very much.
Bye-bye.